Hello everyone, my name's Tyler. Welcome to another episode of Fortnite Battle Royale Ideas, the series where you give your ideas for Fortnite and I'll give you my thoughts and implementations on the ideas. In today's video, we will be talking about game mode ideas for Fortnite, and boy do we have a bunch to talk about. This is actually a revisited idea topic. I uploaded a game mode idea video when the 50v50 mode was first released, and we talked about some game modes there, but since then, we have seen a lot of new limited time modes released, and you have given me a lot of comments about new game mode ideas. A lot of modes we talked about in that first video have made their way into Fortnite, so let's see if we can get these new ideas in there as well. Today's video ideas come from Nerfy and Hattrick, who mention a better way to implement the 50v50 mode. Terminator X7 says there should be a jetpack in an LTM so they can test it. Temmie Plays 007, the Hero 64, and It's Dabby mention a building game mode. The Hero 64 also comments on an infinite ammo mode, 200 people, half map, blitz, insta-storm kill, and dedicated solo squad playlist. Ian Allum says they should add in an infection mode. Ulto mentions a mode in the sky with jump pads and towers. The Lazaga Gamer, Crash Bandicoot, the Hero 64, Ulta, Pexel, Floor Carpeting, and Darnell Titley all mention zombies in one form or another. John Thompson mentions an objective-based mode such as King of the Hill, Gun Game, and 4 teams of 25. Temmie Plays 007 mentions a reverse storm mode and a dance-off mode. Cleaner Upper mentions a random spawn mode. Terminator X7 comments adding in classes similar to the PvE with builders, looters, and healers. And Shabitskis here says to add in a troll mode with all those fun items that would use for funny moments and montages in YouTube videos. We will go over each of these comments more in depth as we talk about each idea. In the background, you're seeing some gameplay of the sniper-only limited time mode. Playing as a trio, we drop at the rock formation next to Salty. We knock out a few people behind us before we make our way towards Pleasant via jump pad. Landed quite a few snipes in this one, finally got an impulse grenade kill, and for a solid 2 minutes, I try to kill the final guy with a trap. I'll let you see how that goes down. Limited time playlists are good for 2 reasons. 1, they keep the game fresh. They either add something new to the game or allow you to try something new within the game. For instance, 5 teams of 20 was something brand new and added a fresh take on the typical game. Or Blitz mode, a fast-paced variant of what we're used to. While an explosives only playlist or sniper only playlist doesn't add anything new and honestly doesn't change the gameplay too much, at least not like 50v50, Blitz, build mode, or gun game, but it allows you to play differently. Sniper mode allows you to practice your shot much more than in a typical game would allow, and an explosives only game increases the drop rate of the really good explosive items, so you can get the chance to play with them if you've never gotten the guided missile, for example. The other great thing about LTMs is that the devs can test things. You can only test new items, whether that be for bugs or for balancing factors, so much within a closed group. When that next new update goes live, it's then that the devs can see how this item will truly affect the meta and what kind of game-breaking stuff that they've done. With millions of people playing at once, with millions of different scenarios and playstyles, it's then that they can truly see the many combinations of how things will work and affect everything else. The shooting test LTM was just that. They added in damage falloff and 100% first shot accuracy, as well as some other changes. These 2 changes in particular were big changes they didn't want to just release into the wild to break the game and piss people off, so they added them into an LTM, which you could choose whether to play or not, and then they got feedback from the community. Let me know in the comments your favorite LTM so far and what mode you think they should add most. The main problem with the 50v50 game mode was that it didn't feel like the trailer. Hattrick says, recreate the 50v50 mode, make each team spawn on one half of the map with a wall separating them. They would be unable to attack each other until a certain time limit before it disappears. This would encourage players to build forts, plan attacks, and get geared up. It would look more like the trailer the moment the wall disappears and solve most of the mode's problems. Nerfy says something similar. 50v50 was disappointing because of the trailer. It looked like building actual forts were going to be a thing in this game mode. His fix? The barrier is placed in the middle of the map. There are 2 sides, one for each team. You can't enter the other side for the first 10 minutes or so of the game. During this time, you would loot and have time to build a massive fort with defensive traps, windows, strategy, etc. The storm, now more shaped like an eye, would continue to close in like normal. I must say, I like this idea. Having your whole team drop on one side of the map would be great. You have plenty of room to loot certain places by yourself or with your squad, and plenty of materials to grab up. And having a dividing line that stretches all the way across the map would be plenty of room if you wanted to build one central giant fort, or if you wanted to spread out and have each squad having their own mini fortification at that dividing line. Having this new storm design shaped like an eye would have all the fights go down in and around that area instead of random places throughout the map. This alone would make the game be like like the trailer, where you have 2 full teams going all out from their castles. 10 minutes would be a solid amount of time to get building materials and loot while still being short enough that you would have to manage your time wisely because you're still going to want to build a fort. And imagine the fort you could build. Start by building 4 walls high towards the enemy, build a couple windows down low that they might not expect, make an obvious weak spot for entry, but really it's a labyrinth of traps once they get down there. You could have so many anchor points that it'd be hard to knock down your fort, small walls for cover and holes for you to drop through. I mean, the possibilities are truly endless with this kind of fortification you could build, and I think this would be a great reiteration of the 50v50 mode. Terminator X7 says they should put the jetpack in a limited time mode so that devs can see how players will use it. We mentioned that LTMs are great for testing things, and I think this would be no exception. I did a video talking about how I think the jetpack should work. I'll put a card on screen if you want to watch that video. To sum up, jetpacks have a needless, in my opinion, connotation to them. There was an outcry when they were first announced, and I understand people's concern, but I don't think the jetpack would be a spammable item to avoid damage. I think it would have to be used tactically. You wouldn't probably be able to shoot while using it, and at best, it would be similar to how Battlefront's jetpack works. They could totally add in an LTM with a high spawn rate for jetpacks, just let people know the drop rate was increased, and see what people think. I will say, I have to commend Fortnite devs for retracting the addition of the jetpack. They really do listen to the community, but at the same time, I do trust them to add in something that sounds ridiculous and make it work. We can't let the burn of other devs from other games affect our trust in the Fortnite developers. They know what they're doing. It's Dabby, the Hero 64, and Temmie Plays 007 request a building mode with infinite materials. I think this would be great as an LTM. It would completely change those drops where the enemy swoops in, grabs the weapon before you, leaving you helpless. Now you can build a little box around you, build up, more than likely he's going to do the same thing, then you can edit back down to escape and find a weapon. The build wars would be ridiculous. You could build a bridge 4 floors wide and not have to worry about running out of materials, or you could build up the strongest metal fortification, and if the storm doesn't move in your favor, you've still got plenty of materials to do it again. I think it would be really cool to see what people would build when they have more time and don't run out of materials. The Hero 64 mentions a few other ideas, an infinite ammo mode. I'm not too keen on this, as ammo consumption is something I think you should always have to be cognitive of, but hey, why not try it out for a week as an LTM? Whoever finds the rocket is definitely going to be happy. A 200 people mode, that would be actually insane. People would be going down all the time. I think that would be too much for the servers to handle, but if they could and if the map was a little bigger, why not? A half mode and a 50 storm fast mode. That's kind of what we saw with Blitz, and I think overall Blitz was a fan favorite. While I do prefer the option to be stealthy, take your time to set up flanks, etc., Blitz was really fun to just be able to play aggressive. Storm insta-kill. Why? Just why? No, I'm kidding. That would be really cool. We would see a lot of people dropping at the center. It would be cool if the circles were smaller but moved slower. I would definitely die a lot because, I get stuck in the storm. And a solo squad playlist. As far as I know, everyone can select no fill when they go into squads, so I think that would serve the same purpose. If not, sure, for those crazy good people out there, could have like 12 squad teams and 52 solos, if my math is right. That way, about half-ish of the people consist of solo, and the other are in squads. Ian Allum says they should add in an infection mode. Yes, just yes. While I haven't played a bunch of Infection, I do know it's very popular. Basically, the game starts, and in a certain amount of seconds, one player will become the infected. He will be given a weapon, and everyone else will have only their pickaxe or something very difficult to use. The infected person has a certain amount of time to kill their first victim, after which that player also becomes infected and has the same objective. The game gets increasingly harder for the survivors because there's less of them and more of the infected running around with weapons. Survivors win if they successfully avoid dying by being extremely evasive or good at hiding, and the infected win if they infect all the survivors. I'm unsure how it would work in a battle royale. The building aspect would help out the survivors. That would be fun. The storm would have to be much smaller, and the looting would probably have to be limited to bandages and shield items. Not sure exactly, but I do think there's a lot of potential, and I think people would really enjoy it. Ulto mentions Skywars. There are 2 storms, the standard one, and one that goes up from the ground. Up the spawn rate of launch pads, and you have unlimited resources. This sounds crazy. A vertical storm would have to start at the lowest elevation possible. That means that landing on hills would be better. Unlimited resources would allow you to build a couple ramps high, then build a bridge to walk across, avoiding the storm rising to the sky. Jump pads would help you get to someone else's walkway or up to a taller hill. I imagine most people would lose by falling, and I think it would be a hard game mode to win, and a fast one at that, but it could be really cool. The Lazaga Gamer, Crash Bandicoot, the Hero 64, Ulto, Pexal, and Darnell all mention zombies from Save the World PvE mode. There are some games, for instance Titanfall 2's Attrition game mode, where PvP with PvE elements works amazingly well. The grunts, or zombies in this case, aren't much of a threat, but if you get caught between a bunch of them and another player, it doesn't help your odds of winning that fight. Killing them is easy and gives you points, or in this case maybe would drop you items, and the biggest game changer is being able to discern between them and another player. Players could roam with the zombies to try and blend in to seem like no threat, or come pick you off because you were too preoccupied with the zombies. It adds in a whole new layer of depth. I think this implementation would be a bit much for Fortnite. I think at the very least they should add zombies in an LTM in the storm. Maybe instead of the storm you have thousands of zombies moving towards a central location. They would deal damage to you instead of the storm. Some would move faster than others, maybe moving inside the safe zone at times, and maybe if you can mow through like 100 of them without someone picking you off, you'd have a little extra space, or a hole in the storm if you will, and then they would gravitate towards you if you were in the storm area. John Thompson mentions a King of the Hill idea. I imagine this would be similar to the Infected mode, but maybe a little harder for the ones on the hill than the Infected in that mode. He mentions 4 teams of 25, we saw 5 teams of 20, and I think that worked out really well. And my favorite idea, gun game. I've actually heard rumors of this one. If you don't know what gun game is, everyone starts with the same weapon, then once you get a kill with that weapon, you advance to the next, and so on until you reach the final weapon and win. Here's how I think it should work. Everyone drops in as normal, everyone starts with a pickaxe. You're not required to get a kill with the pickaxe. Instead, there are common pistols on the ground, common pistols only. That will be the first weapon in the rotation. Since you change weapons after every kill, there would be no weapons to pick up, except for the common pistols. Instead, it's bandages, shields, traps, materials, and ammo, and maybe special items like the boogie grenade. Basically, you would go from a common pistol to a gold scar, each weapon getting better with the exception of a couple harder to use items such as the crossbow or maybe the minigun. Since with every kill you get a better weapon, it would be a domino effect. Adding in a couple hard to use weapons allows people a little time to try to catch up by still rewarding the really good players if they can get past those hard to use weapons. In the rumors about this mode, I heard about this being potentially a respawn game mode. Crazy, right? I think that would be fine. It would be completely different than the Fortnite we know, but I think it would be fun. Here's how I would do it. If you die, you drop from the battle bus again, and when you land, you resume from where you were. That way you're kept in the game if you didn't get past the third weapon because the guy you went up against had an assault rifle while you had a deagle. You could land somewhere that's optimized for the weapon you have, balanced by the fact that you're going to lose a good 30 seconds of gameplay while dropping. I love this idea and I think it'll work. I hope the rumors are true and that they add it in. Temmie Plays 007 mentions a reverse storm mode. The storm would start with no eye and expand the whole time. I think the storm would have to start small, but not too small. I don't know if this idea would work, but it would be cool to try out. Everyone trying to fight each other at the beginning, but no one has good weapons. Then people start getting better weapons, but they start spreading out more. Could be cool. He also mentions a dance-off mode. It'd be cool if we could design our own dances in the game. Somehow each joint on your character is editable in the main menu, and then you could create dance moves. Could you imagine? Eventually the game would devolve into everyone parkour flipping down hills and flipping each other off. Cleaner Upper mentions random spawn mode. The glider controls itself and you won't be able to choose your location. Even in squads you would be separated. All players would land a certain distance from each other. This sounds brutal. Could be a fun way to challenge yourself though, definitely not a try-hard type of mode. Have squad mates land no farther than a certain distance away would make for some funny moments and for some challenging gameplay. Terminator X7 says they should add in classes. Soldiers, constructors, looters, and healers. While I do think this would completely change the current formula, much like gun game, I think it would be cool. Why can't we have our standard matchmaking, a gun game matchmaking, and a team class matchmaking? Incorporating elements from the PvE, they already have a code set in place. I could see this. This would be a squads only playlist, and they would have to balance each class to be just as important as the one that's specialized in dealing damage or being offensive. Lots of teamwork would be needed. Could honestly even see this mode in an esports scenario. Healers laying down fireplaces, throwing AoE healing grenades, looters finding extra ammo and items, constructors building faster and stronger builds, and soldiers running faster. Everyone can build, shoot, and heal, but each one is specialized in one of them. If it's balanced right, I can see this being a huge success. And Shabitskis here says they should add in a troll mode, items and weapons people use to troll people. Imagine just a bunch of traps, jump pads, impulse grenades, boogie bombs, crossbows, and other meme items. It'd be good fun. Wow, that was a lot of ideas. Lots of great ones too. My favorite is gun game for sure. What ways do you think that mode would work? I also think infection and squad classes would be fun too. What is your favorite mode I mentioned, and how do you think they should work? And are there any other game mode ideas you have? If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up to show your support, subscribe for Fortnite and all things gaming. This has been Toast, and I'll see you on the next video.